Welcome to Faith Talks Wood Podcast. I'm Will from Flatwood Acres.
And I'm Tom from Mountain Valley Maker.
And we're a podcast talks about everything from Jesus to joinery and a little bit of everything in between. So I think I talked on the podcast, I think we talked a little bit a few weeks ago about golfing and how I kind of got back into it because I was invited to golf at this special golf outing for work. Well, that was this past week. And this golf club, it's a private country club kind of place. It's probably the nicest golf course, in a 200-mile radius of here. I mean, it's like PGA level greens, and the fairway of this golf course is like the greens of most golf courses I play. Just insane, right? And so I get there early, and a couple other guys from work, we get there early, and we start hitting up the range, and I'm hitting nice. I'm feeling it, man. It's just, my swing's nice. I'm driving good. Everything is going pretty good. And then tee off was like, first group of tee off at noon, and then 12:10, and then, whatever. Ours was 12:30, and we get up there, and they do what's called breakfast ball. Your first drive of the day, you're allowed to take 2 shots if you shank one. Well, I shanked both of them. Dude, I was so mad. The whole day, played 18 holes, and if I didn't just about shank every drive, and the only thing that I was doing well, and what I normally do well is pitching wedge down. So pitching wedge, gap wedge, 60 degree, I was hitting those great. Everything else, man, I was like a freaking hack out there. And the only other thing that I was hitting really well was my 3-wood off the ground. So there's a long course, and so there's several par 4s that are normally par 5s in places I play, right? And I was hitting. It was funny because the guys I was golfing with, they both golf a lot, and the one is really good. And I was hitting this 3-wood, and they're like, "Man, you're hitting that thing like a pro," because I have a natural cut to it, and it would go up, and it was just feeling really good. Nonetheless, it was a good day, and it was nice. I was only like a high of like 72. Pretty breezy, but yeah, man. So I got to golf on one of the nicest golf courses that I will probably ever golf on, and it was fun. And the club, it's a pretty prestigious, there's a wait list, and it's pretty expensive. I think your dues are over $10,000 a year, kind of thing. Just next level kind of golf club. But it was funny though. We got there, and we were there a little bit early, and myself and 2 other guys that I work with walk into the clubhouse to go find the restrooms. And we walked in, and if the butler guy didn't yell at us for having hats on, oh yeah, he said, "Take your hats off," because the clubhouse is yeah, I felt like I was in church. It's like, geez, man.
Wow.
Yeah, we had caddy and everything, man. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, I'll probably play next year there, but I guarantee you I'm going to play a few times before then.
Yeah,
I need to get that. Well, what I found is, you said you used to golf a lot back in the day. I used to golf a lot too, and the clubs that I got, the irons, I really like. I like the grips on them. The light, everything is good there. I do not like the putter that came with the kit, or the set that I bought from this guy. It just has a weird balance to it. It just doesn't. I can't get a good swing on it. And then the driver is fine, but it's an older driver with a smaller surface face,
Mm-hmm.
and so there's not as much forgiveness with it. And as somebody that doesn't golf much, it's like, I need a little bit of an oversized, kind of what most guys use anymore is those massive drivers. But But yeah, so I think that's probably my investment is to get a decent putter and a nice driver at some point. But yeah, it was fun. It was fun to get out there and play.
I bet up there in Erie, y'all probably have like a Play It Again Sports. You ever been
There
to one?
used to be, but I think it shut down.
Oh, okay.
Um,
I was gonna say,
yeah,
well, next time you go to Pittsburgh, I guarantee you they got one. Just you can go in there and get a club cheap. They always have
right,
huge because there's like I got this friend, man. Like every time a new club comes out, he's getting
right,
that's all he spends his money on is golf. And those type guys then get rid of their other stuff dirt cheap. So, but
right.
I bet
Yeah,
if I
I
went,
have a guy.
oh,
Go ahead.
I was just say I bet if I went out and played around today, I bet I'd shoot 120.
That's
I
about what
mean, like,
felt.
because I haven't swung a club in forever, and
Right.
it is a muscle memory game. Like you got to practice golf to stay good.
Right.
But
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, it's about doing it constantly. It's expensive. Like I could never
yeah,
go out and golf a bunch. But like a buddy from work, him and I talked about. We're like, hey, let's try to get out one more time before the end of the year. Let's just you and I let's just take a Saturday morning or something and go do a round of golf. But the funny thing is these two guys that were on my team. It was three-man teams, and we had a caddy. And the two guys on my team, they were watching me, and they're like, "You've got the form. Your swing is beautiful, but we could tell you just haven't golfed in a while because I'm lifting my head, I'm not turning my hips, I'm not doing the things, but they're like we could tell that and then I'll get up within 100 yards of the green and hit a wedge and get within a one putt, and they're like, okay, so you do know how to golf. I said, yeah, that was always my bread and butter was the pitch game, always with
yeah,
a 60-degree lob wedge. If I was within 50 yards, I'd put it within a club length away. I don't know why. I just could always feel those better. But driving was never my strong suit. Even though I'm a big, tall guy, not a strong driver. And putting. Uh, Now the one thing that this course kind of was a gotcha. We didn't know this is that they aerated the greens the day before. And so the greens were like Plinko boards.
oh,
There's holes through it. And so you're going to putt, you find your line and you hit a putt and you're just like, oh, he's looking good. And then it bounced off to the right or something, right? It was
oh,
a little bit annoying there, but yeah, it was fun. And just, it was just a blessing to be out there and see God's creation in such a meticulous way.
yeah,
Like the way this is kept is just, oh my goodness. You're just, and you almost like feel guilty leaving a divot.
yeah.
Like our caddy, if we left a divot, he'd chase it and put it back down.
Yep.
Like it's just like, okay, this is a different world, and I'm using a set of $100 clubs I got off Facebook. Oh man. So anywho, how have you been? How are things going?
Oh man, it's I've been crazy busy with work. I've had a lot of installs. I think I told you last week I was going to Aspen. Ended up going to Aspen twice last week, and then big job here in Fayetteville. Not Fayetteville. I used to live in Fayetteville here in Grand Valley, and man, it's just been job after job. Praise the Lord. But yeah, but yesterday, dude, you'll never believe this. So we finally are getting some rain, and I had a job schedule for yesterday morning where I had to drive across to the other end of the valley. Supposed to meet the lady at the complex to let me in at 6:30 a.m. I had to do these two vehicles, but one was a horse trailer and one was a truck, and it was in a locked area. And so I was drizzling. And I'm like, this is going to blow over. I'm going to go ahead and go get there. Got the truck clean, started installing graphics, starts to drizzle a little harder, and all of a sudden, lightning and thunder. I'm out there. I'm like, oh, Lord, let me get this truck done so I can get out of here. And then by the time I finished truck, lightning was gone, the rain stopped, and I was able to do the work on the horse trailer. And then I had to go across town to do another job inside. And on the way back, I was driving down 7th Street here, and I saw a bunch of paper flying across the street. Got closer, and as I see it, I'm like, that looks like money. I whipped over at the next light, ran back, $5 bill, $20 bill, $20 bill, $20 bill, $20. I
What?
picked up $105. I'm out there in the middle of the street praising the Lord, like, Lord, thank you. This is a blessing. What a great day. And then I see a wallet.
Oh,
So I pick up the wallet. I'm like, obviously, this, somebody dropped this, probably left it on the roof of their car and drove off
right.
or whatever. And I go back to the sidewalk, walking back to my truck, and all of a sudden, a car. I'm looking through the wallet, try to figure out whose it is, see if there's a place to contact them. And a young man pulls out, "Sir, did you just find that wallet in the middle of the street?" I'm like, "Yes, I did. Is it yours?" He said, "Yes." And I handed it to him. He's like, "Thank you so much." I said, "Well, here's the money that I'm assuming blew out of your wallet because there was money flying across." He said, "You have got to be kidding me." And he's like, "Thank you so much." And so, yeah, did not get lucky. But then the day wasn't over.
Oh,
Then I'm heading home, driving down a 3-lane one-way street. At the red light, turn green, start going. Car on my left, car on my right, right up in front of me. Me in the center lane. And I'm like, keep driving, keep driving. And I was like, that car is coming towards me. And I'm like, that car is driving the wrong way down the street. And I start honking the horn. Everybody
oh gosh.
stops. And that car just kept coming, kept coming, kept coming. I was like, what? And I kept honking and honking. A Mexican lady, we have a lot of immigrants here that probably couldn't read the street sign. Like, just no big deal. Driving right down, swerves in between me and the other car and keeps going down the one-way street. And
Oh
we're
my
sitting there
goodness.
honking on the horn. And she looked at me like, it's just normal. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Jeez, oh man.
I know. I couldn't believe it, man. I was like, this is getting dangerous, man. I was like out in the
So,
middle of the street picking up money, dodging cars, and then dodging one-way traffic.
so speaking of cars and money, I got story. So in Pennsylvania, in Colorado, do you have to get vehicle inspections?
No, in North Carolina we did.
Okay.
Yep.
So we've got full, however many point state inspections you have to do yearly on your vehicles here in Pennsylvania. Tennessee, we didn't have those, which was nice. But so I'd scheduled to work from home today and to drop my truck off at the Ford dealership to have them do the inspection. And normally they're good about giving me a loaner. Like I've, all the work my truck's done every year, getting inspected, whatever. They give me a loaner and I get a loaner for a day. That way I can get to work. Well, they couldn't give me a loaner. And so I was just going to work from home. My wife met me, followed me down there and brought me home. And so I dropped the truck off and we get home and I'm sitting here getting some work done. And the dealership calls me. It's like, whoa, wow, that was fast. And she's like, "Mr. Corson, so your truck is out of registration. It's expired."
Uh-oh.
I'm like, "No," I said, I just paid that. I just did the registration like a month and a half or 2 months ago." She's like, "No, I looked it up on the DMV site. It's expired." Like, this doesn't make any sense. So I started looking for my paperwork. Well, what had happened was is when we moved here, both of our vehicles, I got 2-year in Pennsylvania. You could do a 2-year registration. I did 2-year because I didn't want to have to worry about it. Well, they had sent me both registrations to renew, and I only saw one of them because I don't know about you guys, and this is I just ordered something to change this. We get mail, and our kitchen, countertops come out, and then there's like a long peninsula, like a bar top peninsula thing. and the mail always just piles up on there. And for whatever reason, I forgot about the registration. And so it was in this pile, and then the pile ends up going into the filing cabinet, right? That's kind of the progression of it. And so I go search through the filing cabinet. I find the registration where I needed to renew it 2 months ago. I've been driving a truck with out of registration for 2 months.
You glad you didn't get
Good
pulled
luck.
over?
You ain't kidding. And so luckily in Pennsylvania, you can go online and do the registration. Blue, it takes 90 seconds. So I do that, and then I send it over to them, and everything was good. And they call me back later, and they says, "All right, your truck failed inspection." I'm like, I figured it's got 160,000 miles on it. It's a 2018. I know stuff's wearing out and stuff's, there's got to be issues. And I've felt a bit of a vibration in the front when I brake. I know it wasn't the brakes. I just put new brakes on it. I figured there's something in the, control arm suspension or something. And sure enough, the driver's side tie rod, the inner tie rod is gone bad. And so like, okay. And she said, oh, and also one of the license plate lights is out. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And so I said, okay, well, what's the damage? Do you have a rental? Or a loaner. I need to be able to get to work tomorrow. I've got something going on after work tomorrow. I have to be up there. And she's like, no, we don't. I said, well, then I'm going to have to, can we reschedule? I'll come get the truck and I'll bring it back. And so we go back over there after work, and I get the truck, and she's like, okay, you're rescheduled for this, blah, blah, blah. $900 for this work. I'm like, I don't understand. And I look at it, it's all labor cost.
Oh, yeah.
Insane. And so I'm looking at it, I'm like, the light, now this is, Ford OEM light it's a pair, because it's one light on either side of the license plate that shines in at the license plate. Only one of them's bad. It's $50 for the pair. That's whatever. Okay. $180 to install them.
What?
In labor. Yep. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And then I look down, and the tie rod is $120 part and almost $500 in labor.
Well, and the tie rod would be a lot of labor, but that license plate,
well,
you need to just order that thing yourself from.
So that's already done. And the tie rod, I'm going to do myself too. Tie rod is actually on the Ford, on the F-150, is not that hard. You pop the wheel off, it's right there. You get your wrenches and you take it off. And I mean, it's super easy. Oh. It's just, if you don't have a mechanical app to yourself, like, I wouldn't do it. Me, I just don't want to pay that kind of money.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I refuse to pay $400, almost $500 in labor on something that I don't. I mean, I grew up working on my cars. I've changed my brakes, do my oil, that kind of stuff. Like, okay. I told my wife, I said, I'm just gonna do this myself. Yeah. It's funny because she knows that I can do it. That I've, as long as we've been together, I've always worked on my cars when I've needed to. But it always takes me longer than it should. And but anyways, it just kind of frustrated. And here's the thing. I understand rising labor costs. I understand, you got to pay these mechanics and technicians,
Well,
I get that.
The thing is that all that money is not going to the mechanics.
Oh, no.
Dealerships are not selling as many cars. And so what they're doing is they're jacking up the maintenance shop rates,
right,
so that the dealership is profitable.
Right.
That's highway robbery.
I called O'Reilly's and I said, this is what I have. I need tie rod. I can get the set of inner and outer tie rod, which you might as well change it because they're connected, for under $100 from O'Reilly's with a warranty. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do it. So anyways,
how much was the license plate light?
$12.74 for a pair of LED lights. So,
How
well,
long did it take you to put them in?
oh, I just ordered them today.
Oh, okay.
And so they'll be here tomorrow. I mean, I was looking at the truck. It literally is going to take me 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming $180 is their shop rate in an hour minimum for a shop rate.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they're charging that. But my goodness, I don't even know. So anyways, that's been my vehicle. And here's the thing. I know it needs the truck's got a lot of miles on it. It's a 2018 with 160,000. Like we put miles on this thing, and I get it. You know, it's stuff starting to wear out and whatnot. And but when I saw that, I was expecting, like, I budgeted $500. I'm like, it'll be $500 to fix this. And I get to the dealership and they're almost 900. I'm like, I don't know. I can't justify it. So
Yeah, that's crazy.
but here's the thing. The other side of that is, when I work on this, I'm going to bring my son out. It would be Saturday morning or something. And I'm going to show him, he's 5 and he's starting to understand things and ask questions. I'm going to show him that even, dad, who we could afford to, we could pay them to do it. I'm just going to show him a lesson of like, hey, look, we work hard for our money. And this is how you do. It's not hard to do. I mean, now if it was like, a transmission or just something internal engine wise, I'm not going to mess with it. But brake, suspension, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm just gonna do it. And the only thing is, so it's, I think it's like $80 something for the tie rod. And the only thing I don't have, which I'm going to go buy because I'll use it in the future, is a torque wrench. I don't have one. And so I need to make sure that the nut that locks the tie rod to the hub assembly is supposed to be torqued down to like 78 foot-pound. I want to make sure that's accurate. I don't want to over tighten it. I don't, that could mess something up. So I'm going to go out and, pay $50 for a torque wrench that I'll use, and it'll be something that I'll have, and then that'll be that. So
there you go.
So yeah, fun stuff. But anywho, yeah, man, it's been a good last week, but this weekend is Labor Day and I have Monday off, and so I'm looking forward to a long weekend to just spend with family and relax. And tomorrow is my son's first day of kindergarten. Believe that?
That's crazy.
First day of kindergarten, and he's excited, man. He's super excited, and it's going to be good. So, but yeah. Before we get into the rest of the podcast, just want to say thank you to the Patreon supporters. Appreciate you guys. If you want to support us on Patreon, you can do so at patreon.com/Faith Talks Wood. And we want to thank you to all you guys who pray for us. This is a ministry to Tom and I, and we want to continue to use this for God's good and God's glory. And then give us a 5-star review. Spotify is now doing like reviews. So reviews on Spotify and Apple or whatever app you use. And we would really appreciate it. So this week is my week to kind of teach or talk. And I've been kind of all over the place in my Bible reading. In the New Testament, I just finished up through Jude, and now I'm kicking back to Romans just because I feel like I really want to read Romans right now. But I was reading in Hosea, and I'm just part of Hosea really reminisces with me as somebody who, as all of us, have struggled with sin and struggled with things in our lives, and the redemptive nature of who God is through Jesus plays itself out in Hosea. And that's what it's about, right? The book of Hosea, Hosea marries Gomer. She's a prostitute, and she continually is unfaithful to him. And yet God keeps telling him, like, no, go back to her. Go back and bring her out of what she's been in. And so, just kind of a high level thought of what Hosea represents is Christ's sacrifice on the cross for us. And so I'm going to read Hosea chapter 3. Hosea chapter 3 is only 5 verses. And so it's super, super short. And I'm reading out of the LSB, the Legacy Standard Bible. And the reason I'm reading out of the LSB, I've come to this, I think it's my favorite translation for a couple reasons, but one of them is, when you read, Tom, when you read Old Testament and it says the Lord in all lowercase caps, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is the translators translating the Tetragrammaton, which is the word how we would say Yahweh. The Hebrew is Yod He Vav He, which really we don't know how it was pronounced because the Jewish people wouldn't say the name of God because they felt like it was a holy name and that you should never say the name of God. But God gives himself this name and tells us what his name is in Genesis, and I believe that we should call him that. The Legacy Standard Bible takes that to heart, and everywhere over 6,000 times in the Old Testament where it says the Lord, the LSB translates it to Yahweh. And for me, as I'm reading through Old Testament, man, it's just it just illuminates the fact that this is God talking, or this is, talking about God. And so anyways, so I picked it for that. It only says it once in chapter 3, but I just love reading Old Testament out of LSB, and the New Testament. It does some things that I appreciate there too. But it's just that it is an offshoot of the NASB 95. And so if you know the NASB 95, it's basically that with a few tweaks. It was part of John MacArthur's master's seminary team that did this. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and read Hosea chapter 3. And we'll talk about it a little bit and go from there. So Hosea chapter 3. Then Yahweh said to me, go again, love a woman who is loved by her companion and is an adulteress, even as Yahweh loves the son of Israel, though they return to other gods and love raising cakes. So I bargained for her for myself for 15 shekels of silver and a honor and a homer and a half of barley. Then I said to her, you shall stay with me for many days. You shall not play the harlot, nor shall you have a man. So I will also be toward you. For the sons of Israel will remain for many days without king or prince, without sacrifice or sacred pillar, without ephod or household idols. Afterward, the son of Israel will return and seek Yahweh, their God, and David, their king, and they will come in dread of Yahweh and to his goodness in the last days. I guess it said Yahweh there a lot more than I thought. So what's happened here is Yahweh said to Hosea, said, hey, go get her. And effectively, Hosea, he had to pay for her. He had to buy her for 15 shekels. Gomer was already his wife. And she's in this state where he has to buy her, which means that she had gone down a path. She was in, you could almost call it like a sex trade. Like she was in this trafficking thing, and he had to buy her back. And then where is it at? I just lost my place. So he buys her back, and then he says that you're going to stay with me, and you're not going to be what you were, and we're going to move forward together. And so as I think about what Christ has done for us, we continually fall back to our idols. We continually fall back to our ways in which is not honoring to God. But yet he continually moves towards us through Christ. And we are so lucky and blessed to get that honor. And it's nothing that we could do. There's nothing that we can do to earn it. There's nothing we can do to gain favor. It's because of the blood of Jesus, the ultimate payment. We were already created in the image of God, and yet he has bought us back. We should be thankful. We should get down on our knees and thank God and ask his spirit to continually work within us. And through all the sin and all the muck that we have, realize that our identity isn't in that it is in Christ, who like Hosea bought Gomer, has bought us with the price of his blood. And so just the thought that I had reading through this and kind of realizing like, oh man, this is much more. And so the book of Hosea keeps going back and forth of, God loves Israel, but Israel continually sins against God. And but yeah, he still pursues and still comes after us. So what are your thoughts on that, Tom?
Yeah, man. I love the Old Testament. And the Old Testament is just full of stories like this that point to Jesus and what he did for us. Like you can go back through the entire Old Testament, starting really in Genesis. I mean, story after story after story where it's pointing to Jesus and the sacrifice that he's going to make for us. But we're all just like this woman. I was reading in the ESV, and it says, "Go again, love a woman who is loved by another man and is an adulteress." Yeah, she's a sinner. She's filthy, and you've got to go buy her back. You've got to go pay the price to get her back out of that. And same thing Jesus does for us. He paid the price to get us out of our sin and to wash us clean. But yeah, man, it's that so many of those smaller books in the Old Testament are just so powerful. I love reading them.
Oh yeah, the minor prophets. I mean, I just read through them all in the last couple weeks, and some of them I like more than others. When you're reading through them, some of it is just like it's almost the same thing. God is using these guys to prophesy, like, Israel, come back.
Yeah,
you've messed up. Turn around, come back. And it's like back and forth in that. But then you get to some that it's a little bit different. And I can't remember which one I was reading, because some of these minor prophets are just a couple chapters long. And so you just kind of blow through them as you're in your reading plan or whatever. But I was reading one, I don't know if it was Micah or Joel, but the feel of it was different. It was just like, yeah, this is good. I don't know. Zechariah, maybe one of them, but yeah, it's good stuff. And that's, one of the reasons like I said, that I love the Legacy Standard Bible is because of the Yahweh thing. You heard it there. It 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Instead of saying the Lord, it says Yahweh. And to me, it just like emphasizes and just makes it like, oh man, because you read somewhere in the Old Testament say, the Lord said to my Lord, and your mind is like, oh, what? But when it says Yahweh said to my Lord, I don't know, I just absolutely love it. So yeah, I've been, as I'm reading in the Old Testament, I'm reading in the LSB. And the New Testament's really good too in it. It does a couple things. Yeah, I like red letter Bibles, but it capitalizes divine pronouns, so that kind of stuff. But yeah, so good stuff. I saw a picture from you, and I think you did a reel on Instagram that you've done some woodworking.
Yeah, I hadn't done a ton, but I was able to get a little shop time and make a floating shelf to go in our kitchen above our microwave area for my wife to put knickknacks and stuff on. So yeah, it was fun.
What kind of wood was that?
That was butcher block countertop.
Oh, was that like something that you got from like Lowe's or something?
Yep. Yeah.
I wondered when I saw the one picture, I was like, that looks like that rubber wood or acacia wood or something, whatever some of those are made out of.
Yep. And it's cheaper than, and
oh yeah.
And I just didn't have time to, and I'd also use the same thing as the shelf right above that cabinet, and I wanted it to match. That's the main reason. But when you look at milling lumber, glue up, and all, like it's cheaper to go get that, and it looks fantastic for what we did with it.
Right.
But yeah, and I had bought one of the floating shelf brackets from Shepherd Brackets, and so I dadoed out the back to recess the bracket in, and got to use my favorite Surf Prep sander, do some sanding.
Yeah, saw that.
And,
yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, man, like it, and I realize it's an expensive quality tool that I didn't used to be able to have in my budget, but I'm very thankful to have it now, because I tell you, it sure beats sanding edges of countertops and stuff by hand. Like, that thing is so phenomenal. I love it.
Yeah.
But
absolutely.
Speaking of Surf Prep, go to surfprepsanding.com, pick you up a sander, some sandpaper, and use code FAITH at checkout. Save some money.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what style of floating bracket did you use?
It's Shepherd Brackets, and it's a family-owned company that's they're welded, and it says American steel. They're really, really strong.
Oh, okay. I see them.
And so you just take drill the hole for the pipes to go in, and then go back and dado out the back of it, where that way your bracket will hide into the shelf once you slide it on. Work fantastic, man. They're a little pricey, but they're really, really strong.
Honestly, as I'm looking at it, I guess the length.
Oh, they got them all different sizes. Now the shelf,
they're not that expensive, honestly.
No, I mean, well, the one that shelf was 53 inches long.
Oh,
so I had to get a
46.
Yeah, and so
you're paying a little bit more for that.
Yeah. But most of the time you're not doing floating shelves that big. But
so as I'm looking at it, I'm actually looking at it on my computer here. Now, the way the back plate is designed, is that designed? All those little notches are made for screws, so you can, no matter where the stud's at.
Exactly. That's why I like them, man.
Okay.
Because you're going to be able to find the stud no matter. Some brackets come where, man, the screw holes won't line up where your studs happen to be, and it's a pain in the rear. And I really like the way they do their brackets.
Well, so I did years ago. We still lived in Tennessee. One of the guys I worked with, they had built this like cabin. It was interesting. It was like I guess like the mini home things that people are building, or whatever they're called, the
tiny
small
house,
tiny house. But it was like a cabin that they had built at this like nice camp place. I don't know. Anyways, and he commissioned me to build him a floating shelf for their coffee nook area. And I got this. If you look way back, now I post Bible verses every day, and so there's a ton of posts on my page. But if you look at my reels and you look way back, there's a few reels of me making this thing, and it's this gorgeous Pennsylvania black walnut that was air dried. So there's all these purples and really gorgeous wood. that I made the shelf out of. But the bracket that I got was a floating shelf bracket, but it was from like Rockler, or not Rockler, it was from Woodcraft. And it was like it wasn't a whole bar like that. Each of the things, each of the posts or whatever was its own thing.
Yeah.
And so you had to line it up. And so what I had to do is I had to center it up where we wanted it. I had to find the studs, and then I had to transfer the stud onto the shelf. It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I did all the work there. So I built the shelf, the floating shelf completely. It was just a slab of walnut that I milled down real nice and sanded up real nice and put finish on it. And then I took it on site, and I took everything with me, and I was really happy that I forethought the things that I would need to do this on site, because I had everything I needed. And I used those F-style clamps, those like old school wood clamps that everybody's grandpa has, right? That you have in your shop. And I used that to hold the shelf upright out on his deck. And then I used my router to route in the recess for the brackets after I had did that. And then I drilled, it was a whole deal. But seeing this, I'm like, well, golly, that would have been nice to have.
Yeah. They're particularly if you're doing something big, they're really, really nice.
Well, they have short ones, 10 inches, like a 10 inch or a 16 inch would have worked for what I was doing. And then I wouldn't have to worry about locating the studs on the thing. I could just mount it. And so that looks good. So, very good. I actually did some woodworking stuff. So my boss, well, he's not really my boss anymore because I got promoted. But anyways, he retires at the end of this week, which will be last week if you're listening to this. And so I had this idea to make him a plaque. And the plaque, don't want to give away too much of where I work and stuff like that, but it has our logo on it. And then it has the amount of years that he's been working. And then on the back, what I did is I went around to the bank, and all of our executives and all of us department heads, and I had everybody sign a piece of paper, just their signature. And then I took that and I scanned it as a PDF, and then I pulled it into Lightburn, the software I use for my laser, and then I laser engraved that on the back of the plaque. So he has this plaque, and then on the back of it, it's everybody's signature that's laser engraved into there. It's kind of a cool little concept. And so I built the shelf out of sassafras. It's just, I have a bunch of it in my shop. Yeah, I needed something. I wanted a little bit of a lighter color wood. And so, one, if you like milling cedar, you'll love sassafras. Just has that aromatic smell that's just like, it smells like root beer almost.
Yeah.
Have you ever worked with it before?
No.
It's a pretty soft hardwood. I would put it, it's probably softer than cherry, like just easy to work, pretty grainy. Like I sanded that bad boy up to like 320 or so, and the grain is still there. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to smooth out like a cherry would or something. But I got that done, and I got it all laser engraved and whatnot. And I'm not building furniture, but I'm making sawdust, and it feels good to make sawdust. I don't know. It's and it feels good. Use my laser and just completely smoke up the whole garage. So I got to open the garage door, and I've got a big barn fan. I'll put in the garage door and suck all that because I don't have it where I have the laser. I don't have a good place to properly vent it out. So it kind of just vents out into the garage. But yeah, so I did a little bit of woodworking with some sassafras. So any projects on the horizon for you?
Well, it's rained here today. It's supposed to rain tomorrow. I might get a little shop time tomorrow. I don't know, but I hope that the rain's done. So, trying to finish up the grading, and then I've got to put in an irrigation system, sod, and a fence. So the reality is, I probably won't get any more shop time for a couple weeks the way it's looking. But then I'll be done with all my outdoor projects, and we'll have a lot of shop time. So that's what I'm looking forward to. But
So all the cement work is done. It looking good.
oh yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, and I've just about got the grading where it needs. It just got a little bit more to do. Hopefully, I can get all that finished up tomorrow, weather providing. But
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
funny thing is, like last Wednesday was 103 degrees here. Tomorrow it's supposed to be 77. It's like,
Dude, it was like 62 here today in Pennsylvania.
love it.
And like I'm wearing this long sleeve. I've been wearing this all day, and I got socks and jeans on, and like I got my slippers on because it's like out of nowhere it's just dropped. It's like we're calling it like a false fall. Like it's gonna do this, and then it's gonna get back up into the 80s or something here in the next week, and then it'll start continuing. But yeah, it's been pretty nice here. I've been enjoying. We enjoy being outside when it's cooler.
Me too.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. Side note, I have a bee update. So I talked about getting attacked by the yellow jackets, right? I just sent you, if you had your phone near you, I just sent you a picture. So this is kind of funny. This where this is located at is out front. It's the wind stream. It's like a metal post, and inside of it, it's termination point for the phone company. It's on our property because it's a termination point for ours, right? It comes underground. It's a buried line, terminates there, and then comes under to the house. And that's where the yellow jackets built their nest, is inside of there. And I was texting Hugh, who he was on the podcast a while back. He's become a good friend. He's an exterminator. And so I was texting him, and we actually talked on the way home one day from work about, like, what do I do for these? Because they're not in the ground. They're yellow jackets, but they've built their thing inside of this metal casing thing. I thought it was plastic, but it's actually metal. And so he'd give me some ideas. One of them was to get a fogger, like you would use to fog a house or something, and like zip tie it to that post early in the morning when they're not active, and then set it off and put a 55-gallon trash bag over it and tie it off at the bottom to just suffocate them out, basically. And I looked at doing that when we were at the store. I went to two different stores. None of the foggers said anything about killing flying insects. And so I just wasn't too certain. I'm pretty sure it would have. And even Hugh said, he's like, I'm pretty sure it would have worked, but ended up finding it's carpenter bee and yellow jacket spray that comes with a long hose that you can get into the hole, and it's a foaming spray. And so my wife, as my son says, I'm the spider killer. My wife is the bee killer. I don't like bees. She doesn't like spiders. It's a perfect marriage. It works out. And so she bundles up in like long sleeves the last like 3 days in a row to go out and spray these things. And it's been really cold out in the morning, which is perfect. Bees aren't active when it's cold. They can't fly. Their wings are too cold. I mean, it's been like in the low 50s in the morning. But every morning, our neighbor across the road, they're remodeling the house and they're putting a front porch and all kinds of stuff. They're out there at like 6 a.m. So she looks out the window to go out there, and she doesn't want to go out there and spray because she's going to spray and take off running. And she's like, I don't want to look like a moron. And so finally she was able to go out there and do it. And I sent you that picture, and Hugh told me this would happen. The nest started growing so big it was busting out of the seams of this thing.
Oh, wow.
Just insane. And so she stuck the straw in the one little hole where they're going in and out of, and she just unloaded the can in there to where the foam was coming out of the can. or out of the post thing, and no bees came out. Like, it was so cold out, and they were, suffocated by the foam or whatever. So I'm hoping this weekend I can mow the grass, at least in that area, and that they're taken care of. So that is the bee update.
Yeah. Yeah. I hate them. So luckily we haven't had any yellow jacket nests, but we've had a lot of wasp nests around here, but those are easy to get to. I'll take those.
Right. Well, we had the bald-faced hornet nest that we had taken care of a couple weeks ago, or 3 weeks, a month ago now. Well, over at our blackberry patch, 3 different times, either myself or my wife would go over to pick blackberries. It happened to me once, happened to her twice. There would be a couple of bald-faced hornets by the blackberries. And so she's like, what in the world? And you can kind of hear him buzzing. So we think there's another nest over there somewhere. Well, we can't see it. We can't find it. And so we bought these traps, and basically you fill it with like sugar water, and there's like some yeast stuff that you put in it, and you hang it out by your berries, and it attracts yellow jackets and hornets, and it kills them when they go inside of it. So we hung that out there. We haven't checked it in a few days, so I'm not sure if we got anything. But yeah, the bees have been rampant this year.
That's crazy.
Oh, yep, I'm done with it. But all right, man. Well, it's getting late. Tomorrow's my son's first day of kindergarten, which means the whole family's going to be up early tomorrow. Normally, I'm up before everybody else, and so now I got to get up a little bit earlier to get up before them to get my Bible reading in and kind of have some quiet time. So it's going to be getting up a little bit early tomorrow. But as always, man, it's been good. And until next week, I'm Will from Flat Woodworks.
And I'm Tom from Mountain Valley Maker.